Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a Ribbit presentation tonight at the RATPAC, Radio Amateur Training, Planning and Activity Committee. I'm Pierre Deliou, W4CKX. First of all, thank you for being here, either today in person or later on this recording. And because some people will likely not look at the entire recording, I'm going to start right off with a request. So we're calling for advisors. If you have life experience responding to an emergency without cellular coverage, we want to hear from you. If you're part of an ham RS team who deployed in an emergency response, we want to hear from you. If you work in government in charge of emergency response, we want to hear from you. So please tell us your story. This will help make Ribbit a practical tool for emergency response. You can contact us through our website at ribbitradio.org. So tonight, I've got about a 20-minute presentation. We'll go through why Ribbit and highlight the need. We'll also explain how we do it and reveal the secret sauce. We'll share with you the vision, where we're going, and you will have a free tech demo app download code as a free giveaway that you can try it by yourself. And I will answer question and answer at the end. This is a live audience, so if you do have questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to interrupt me and I'll be happy to answer your question or give more details. What is Ribbit? Ribbit is a novel digital text messaging mode for VHF, UHF, for recreational and emergency use, and it radically increased the density of information transmitted per spectrum used. It leverages the computing power of the modern smartphone to increase the capabilities of any handy-talkie without requiring any additional hardware. It is redundant and distributed nature, allows it to function even when the internet connectivity is lost during emergencies. And Ribbit is open source and currently in its very early stage of development. So a little about me. My name is Pierre Deliou. I'm the Ribbit inventor and lead architect. I got my first ham license in 1998 as F4CKX in France while I was studying physics in the university. And I rejoined the hobby in 2020 as W4CKX in the US with a focus on emergency communications. I joined the Open Research Institute in 2022 to accelerate Ribbit development. Ribbit is a project of the Open Research Institute. The Open Research Institute is a nonprofit research and development organization which provides all of its work to the general public under the principles of open source and open access to research. Our development team is currently constituted of myself, Ahmet Inan from iCodis GmbH, Key KE0CCI, and you. We welcome everyone. If you have skills you want to contribute, please join the project and you can reach us at ribbitradio.org. So why we do it? We're going to quickly highlight the need. Cellular communications and cell phones are the default mode of communication for citizens. It provides the fastest connectivity, a superior user experience, and multiple mode of communication like search, web, email, chat, text, phone, and video calls, as well as pictures. It's definitely best in class, 99% of the time. However, it's also a single point of failure. In less than 1% case of emergency, cellular can go down for weeks. The infrastructure can fail and large population can be without communication for days or weeks. A good example is hurricane. A study from the FCC showed that about 1,000 cell towers were down during Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Harvey knocked out more than 360 cell towers, about 75% of Puerto Rico's cellular network. Also, cell towers are subject to wildfire with fiber optics cables that can melt and tower that can burn. In the Kincade fire and PG&E power shutdown, 900 of California's cell sites were not operating, an example in Marin County, 57% of the network was down. More recently, tornadoes in Kentucky last year, it is expected to take several months to restore all full cellular capability. And as we present this, we can remember Hurricane Ian in Florida just a few weeks ago. So in this situation, amateur radio emergency service volunteer, they come on the air to assist with communications. And this works extremely well for a short period of time, from hours to several days, but it becomes harder and harder to sustain when we go into days and weeks. Maintaining a flow of communication with hundreds of people over a long period of time is challenging, and we need to overcome operator fatigue, handling numerous concurrent subjects and issues, remembering earlier subjects and issues, so issue of memory over time, transcribing everything in writing and transferring that information to the next net control operator, sharing workload among different operators, and communicating exact location of asset or message provenance. VHF, UHF voice modes has some limitation. How can we support RS volunteers? Well, we can provide them with modern text messaging capabilities to work alongside voice communication on the same frequencies and local repeater infrastructure. A text message is complementary to voice. It allows real-time tactical awareness of the situation, time-stamped and geocoded messages, message history and forward capabilities, and it requires no additional hardware because it's just an app. Text can do more. The benefits of Ribbit text over VHF UHF. I repeat one more time, Ribbit text and regular voice cohabit on the same frequencies. The benefit of Ribbit text messages is a high-level view of all messages, geolocation of every message, the ability to copy-paste, so there's no transcription error, ability to share workload across multiple operators, a complete history, ability to respond to a message, and it only takes 1 second to transmit. Text does more. So how do we do it? And this is where I'm going to share with you the secret sauce of the implementation. How to use your cell phone on the VHF UHF ham bands. Even without cellular connectivity, you can keep most of your smartphone capabilities, like a large screen, a touch interface keyboard, input, high compute power, large memory, and through your GPS receiver, which is independent from the cellular modem in your phone, you can have the exact time and exact location. And finally, you have a speaker and a microphone. And when you couple that to your regular HT, any HT, your handy-talkie brings you a VHF UHF analog transceiver. You can use the Vox mode, voice activated transmit, but it's not required. It's nice to have. And you also have a speaker and microphone. And if we look at the common denominator between these two pieces of equipment that every ham operator has, we actually targeting acoustic coupling between the speaker and microphone so that no hardware is necessary, no cable between the two units. So how do we transmit data reliably via acoustic coupling? Well, the environment room around the two units creates multiple paths for the sound to propagate, which cause multiple echo in the microphone. Multipath echo creates intersymbol interference. To deal with multipath, we use OFDM, orthogonal frequency division multiplexing, multi-carrier modulation. One drawback is that it gives us a lesser than ideal peak to average power ratio compared to a single carrier system. However, we can use a workaround by leveraging QPSK, quadrature phase shift keying, to modulate the carriers and slightly manipulate the amplitude of each carrier to improve PAPR to the point of making the whole system robust and practical. Unlike voice transmission, where noise is without consequence, in a digital transmission, noise is very detrimental. Therefore, we use Fourier error correction code, BCH code for the call sign header, and systematic polar code for the text payload. So here's an example of a text message transmission between a very low-level radio. In this case is a PRS radio in Europe, similar to an FRS radio in the US, and the mobile phone. And what you can see is the mobile phone is actually running the Ribbit demo app and is constantly listening for a Ribbit signature in the sound. So the microphone is constantly listening and trying to decode. And then you will see a reception of a Ribbit message on that radio, and I will play the video twice. So what you see is through the audio being received by the transceiver, went into the room as audio on the speaker, and then it was picked up by the microphone of the smartphone, and then the text was decoded on the screen. I'm going to play it a second time. So what you can see is that the transmission of a message is very short. There's a header of white noise to open all analog circuits like squelch, and then it's followed by the modulated digital transcoding. And it takes about 1.5 seconds to send a message. So the benefit of this implementation is that the digital text audio transmission survived the path from the first smartphone in audio path to the first HT, then through an analog VHF transmission, either in simplex or through a repeater, to the second handy-talkie, and then in audio again to the second smartphone. And it survives AM modulation, or it can be also FM modulation or single sideband, but it can also survive Bluetooth audio compression and transcoding, as well as YouTube audio compression and transcoding. So in theory, if you reading this video in the future on YouTube, you should be able to decode the message that was just sent in this recording. Where we are going, the vision. Ribbit look and feel. So Ribbit messages are public, kind of like Twitter. Ribbit messages are sortable by hashtag. So it allows discussion by common themes, like Reddit. Ribbit message can be sent and retrieved over the air, so it feels like a 1990s built-in board system. And finally, Ribbit messages are grid square geocoded, which allows filtered message by local proximity, and it's possible on advice, and that's a unique feature of Ribbit. Now I'm going to explain a little bit Ribbit system architecture. So what you can see in the bottom corner is we can see the mobile phone that can couple acoustically to the HT, and mobile phone communicate to cell tower network. And on the back of the cell tower network, you got a Ribbit cloud application. And then on your local repeater, we install a local Ribbit server node, and I will explain in more detail the purpose of the cloud application and the local Ribbit server node. So the Ribbit cloud application supervises the network health status and statistics and keep tracks of message sent and received, but just the header of the message. The role of this cloud application is to give us a high-level view of the health of the network. And then locally, you can install a local Ribbit server on your local repeater that will continuously listen to the for any Ribbit message sent on that repeater. It can store about 1 year of message with 64 GB of storage on a Raspberry Pi. Anyone can request the last 50 messages by sending a request code, and therefore it's like that built-in board system behavior when you have a stored and forward mechanism. It also synchronizes with other servers in a redundant peer-to-peer message replication when the internet access is active. And if the internet connectivity is down, it acts as a local node. So in conclusion, where we are today, we have a robust implementation for digital text over analog audio and we are at the early stages of development. Our next step is to focus on RS Group, their needs in terms of user interface and feature, and the purpose is to radically enhance their situational awareness and communication capabilities in the Ribbit app for emergency communication. We're also looking to implementing FEMA messages so that we can, codify the information being retrieved by emergency groups. And later we will focus on the Ribbit cloud application development. If you have some development skills and want to join the project, please contact us. So now it's time for the demo app. So you got a free tech demo download. So you can go right now on ribbitradio.org or scan the QR code, either way. And our demo app is published on the Google Play Store as Rattlegram. And the reason why we're not calling it Ribbit is because we reserve the Ribbit name for when the app will be ready for general release. So this is just the tech demo. But in this app, you can type a message, issue that message as an audio on your speaker, and then use your HT with or without repeater, simplex or through repeater, and transmit this messaging from radio to radio. So thank you very much for listening to this presentation. Please get in touch. You can find us at ribbitradio.org. And we thank you, Pierre, Amit, and Jason. And I'm ready for question and answer.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I will take you, remove your highlight there, and so we can get the people asking questions out there. So where are you folks? And asking questions. Anybody got their hand?
Hey, Dan, this is Stan, KF4DGS. I tried to download the app just a minute ago, and it says on my iPhone, and it said it was waiting to be downloaded, like it's not ready to download the app. Is that something that's going to be coming in the future?
So at the moment, the app is only available on Android. So we do not have an iPhone release. And the primary reason for that is that on Android, it's free to have a developer account and publish apps on the App Store. Whereas on iOS, there's a small fee, and haven't raised any fund yet to pay that fee and then publish in iOS. But with progress, we'll start with Android for the initial release, and as soon as we are ready for more general release, we definitely will have the app also published for iPhones.
Okay, well, thank you.
So thank you for your patience on the iPhone side. We're really sorry about that, but
hey, it is what it is. It's when it's in development, there ain't nothing you can do but wait.
Here, can you lower your desktop sharing?
Lower, you mean stop sharing?
Yeah, stop sharing.
Sure. How about that?
Here we go. Okay, now everybody's got all the tools available to them. Okay, still looking for more questions. That was a good question there. Okay, Larry, it looks like you got your hand up.
Yeah, do you have to have a repeater to operate this, or can you go directly peer-to-peer?
So at the moment, the tech demo allows us to use simplex. So we've tried it in just simplex frequency between two HTs. We've tried it also on a local repeater. So what we do is we just start the call on voice to say, hello, this is W4CKX. I'm going to do a digital transmission test. And then we just press the smartphone and then put the smartphone next to the HT, and somebody on the other side on the repeater frequency, they receive the message on the other side.
So you don't need any infrastructure per se if you're working in the field.
That's right. I mean, the main focus is we're trying to make this free. I mean, the app is free and you don't need any equipment. So it's very easy for any ham operator to volunteer its time in emergency response. And what we want is when these ham operators go in the neighborhood door to door and check on, emergencies, they're able to really have smartphone HD. They don't need a laptop. They don't need anything. It's really a portable rig. I mean, just the phone, and they can, you know, report what they see in the field and transmit this message to central command. That's the vision.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else?
There's one in the chat.
I was going to say, I was just asking, how's chat doing?
One question from the chat. When the message is received, is confirmation returned?
Right. So there's two ways. And if you would have the Ribbit server installed on the repeater, the Ribbit server would chirp an acknowledgement packet with the cryptographic sign, which confirms that the message been fully received and fully understood. When you go just simplex between two people, you don't have that feature because it would be unpractical for the second user to just like retransmit in reverse. So usually what they're going to say is, I'm going to send you a message, then you send it, and then the other person say, okay, I got it. I mean, and because it's digital, you either get the entire message or you get nothing. So it's really like a hybrid. It's not like voice and digital. You cohabit the two modes. Like as you go, you just say, hey, I'm going to send you something. You send the modulation, then the other person at the same time he hears you on his HT is just decoding it with his cell phone right next to the HT, and then sees on his screen and say, oh yeah, I got it. And that makes it for something very practical and very convenient for tactical in the field.
Okay. What is the difference between Ribbit and M17?
Okay, so I can't fully speak for M17, but M17 is a digital mode that aims to be feature equivalent to DMR or Yezu System Fusion or D-Star. So it's just a digital voice encoding method, whereas Ribbit is really sending text message over voice with no equipment.
Okay. And what equipment is needed at the repeater site?
Can you repeat the question, please?
What equipment is needed at the repeater site?
All right. So on the first type of install, I think with RS Group, we could operate with zero equipment. So in your RS team, if everybody got the Ribbit app, they would be able to actually operate just with the app on their HT and their local repeater. Later on, when you reach a certain state of maturity and you want to put that Ribbit server on the repeater, the equipment is a Raspberry Pi with a USB stick for memory and audio in and out from your repeater, and it's going to run continuously 24/7, constantly looking for the Ribbit message signature. And what it's going to do is it's going to just store it in memory, and anytime, let's say you got somebody is curious about the repeater, if you send a query message, say you know that there's a Ribbit server on that repeater, so you just send retrieve command, and then in return it's going to give you the last 50 messages for that specific zone. So you got that kind of store and forward, you know, message board, and in case the internet goes down. But the short answer is you need a Raspberry Pi or any computer that you could use an old computer, but something as small as a Raspberry Pi, and then a USB stick with 64 megabytes, which costs $5 these days. And the messages are just gonna overwrite themselves. So when the 64 gig is full, it's just gonna delete the oldest message. But that's enough for a year or more of messages.
Okay. Barry, I muted you. You need to unmute yourself. You got anything else there, Barry?
Yep, there's a whole bunch. Will this work over HF as well?
So we've not fully driven it through HF. I know Ahmet, who is in charge of the algorithm, tested it over a single sideband, but I think it was using pretty high frequency, so the ceiling of HF maybe. But what happened is, because it used modulation and we're using, you know, several kilohertz of bandwidth. As you go into HF, you're being shrunk and you're not able to have that bandwidth in HF. So my answer would be no. Maybe on 6 meter, but I don't believe it would go lower than that.
Okay. And David wants to know, how is this different than apps like Zello or FL Message, etc., especially Zello?
All right. So Zillow is pretty much like push to talk over IP. So Zillow requires you to have cellular connectivity on your phone. If the cellular network is down, then all of your communication out of your cell phone is going to be shut down, and Zillow will not function. Neither will any, internet connectivity or voice or anything.
Okay. Someone is looking to find the software on the Android Google Store and he can't find it. So can you put up the link to it again, please?
Yeah. So the easiest way to find it is you go to ribbitradio.org. And as you scroll down the site, you're going to have direct link to the App Store. Ribbitradio.org.
Okay.
And
how does it compare to WinLink?
All right. So WinLink requires you to have usually a computer, so a laptop. It requires you to also have sometimes a modem to go between the laptop and the radio. And so that's the main difference. Is here you don't need any equipment, which lowers the barrier of entry to $0, and therefore is very, very feasible to onboard a lot of users because of that non-equipment cost.
Okay, and Victor says he thought this was a repeater-based process. Doesn't that negate HF, which to the best of his knowledge doesn't use repeaters? I suppose, yes, that's true, but eventually you might try it.
Yeah, so there's a lot you can do in simplex. We would have to see how low we can go in HF. But the main thing is, the purpose of Ribbit is really to provide tactical communication in cellular denied zone. So you don't really need, HF long distance connectivity. What you want is you want to be able to connect, let's say, at the distance of your HT or your mobile radio, like pretty much 5-mile radius both ways, 10 miles. And then when you got your local repeater that's up, if the local repeater is being impacted, then the RS team is going to deploy an emergency trailer to kind of supplement and replace the repeater. So it's really about using the frequencies, which is your local repeaters, and then transmitting text message over that same VHF, UHF frequencies you use every day.
Okay. Now, how will this work with an SDR, a software-defined radio?
Yeah, so the beauty of SDRs is that you're able to scan. The cheap XDRs, I think, can do 8 megahertz. So it's slightly, I think what we could do with an SDR, is you could scroll the entire UHF spectrum to extract Ribbit messages packets, so that if people are transmitting on the wrong frequency, the message would still be picked up. But that's like down. It's not the immediate. It's not going to be in development in the first few release. This is really down the road. But yeah, that would be a nice application to have SDRs instead of only listening to one frequency. Listen to the entire UHF spectrum. Ham band. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. That's all the questions in the chat, Ken.
Okay, thank you, Pierre, and thank you for all the questions. I don't see any hands up. I know you guys aren't bashful. Got some more questions out there?
I think there was one more.
Yeah, Pierre, this is Stan again. Does it have to use the cell phone, or can you use like a iPad, not necessarily the iPad, but a Android type pad, like a Kindle Fire or something like that? Can you use that instead of the actual cell phone itself?
Yeah, you only need a speaker and microphone, so a tablet would function just as well. Provided it can load Android apps, then you're good. You're good to go.
Okay, thank you.
you would have a bigger keyboard and a bigger screen. So somebody's asking for the website again, so I'm just going to type it in the
chat. Yes, please do.
ribbitradio.org. And somebody, Victor, was asking, I suppose the question deals with peer-to-peer communication. So yeah, so we're going to spend some time in the user experience of the Release Ribbit app in the future so that people can actually operate without a Ribbit server on the local repeater. So everybody that receives a message can then reshare message with anyone that they're in contact with, so they can really like have a sort of a low effort deployment. We do foresee that installing a Ribbit repeater on a Ribbit server on your local repeater will increase, quality of life for an RS team.
Okay. Larry, I thought I saw your hand up there. Were you just taking it down?
No, it took itself down. No, I was just wondering, have you ever played with an interface like a hardwire between the cell phone and the HT instead of just having sitting side by side?
Yeah, let me check. I've got a cable which has a Kenwood connector in one side and then a jack on the other side, and there's some electronics just to adjust the level, and that's called an APRS cable. Cost about $20. If you do that, it would just transmit the audio perfectly. That we don't foresee people buying equipment, so that's why we want it to function without any equipment. Yeah.
Oh, I understand that. Yeah, I was just wondering because sometimes in your really noisy environment,
Right,
like an EOC, it might interfere with the interface between the phone and the radio.
yeah. I mean, I would say, so we really, I want to extend, and I think that's most of the people on this channel on the Thursday evening RATPAC call are interested in emergency communication. So you've worked in government for emergency response. You've had experience of a deployment as an RS team to respond to an emergency. Definitely reach out to us, ribbitradio.org. There's a contact form. We want to hear your story so we can really understand what were the challenges in the field and how can we best design the user experience to be very practical and very usable tool to help, MCOMs. Yeah.
Someone made a comment, but it sounds like a perfect app for the RF Finder radio.
Yes, since it's probably, yeah, you could run it as an app on the Finder. It's high-end gear. Not everybody's going to be equipped with the RF Finder radio, but if people can have that piece, that's top of the line for sure. It also works with a $30 cell phone and a $20 HT, so that's also the purpose.
Okay. Any more questions out there? Hands up. Jump in there and say something.
Yeah.
We're good in chat, so.
Okay.
So we foresee, so first we'll focus on really building the tool set for RS team. And after, what we're going to do is we're going to expand Ribbit for recreational use. So maybe in a few years, we will see things like Summit on the air Ribbit. So like SOTA R and POTA R. And what people will do, they'll get on the Summit, they'll transmit Ribbit packets, and then they'll get their stats and so on. So I think there's also a lot of use on the recreational side. And then new technician license hams that have just joined the hobby. Not everybody loves to talk on the air. There's a lot of shyness and new hams into talking on the microphone. They're not used to it. And I think that having text message may actually be a lower hurdle for them. And I think that a lot of people will start texting Ribbit message to their local repeater. And there's a lot of features. So for example, just having the server, Ribbit server on your local repeater, you just say, show me the last 50 message, and everything's like geo-coded. You can start to do a classified when you can list all the gear that you have, and everybody's got so much gear that they don't need. And as a new ham, I'd love to go in there and just see, hey, within a few miles, I can actually borrow cable or borrow something. And I think that's a great asset to have, just being able to have that local communication.
I think when you're ready to release it, we probably should have you back here.
So I think we put all of our efforts in the algorithm because that's what we wanted to stress test first, and we've reached that milestone. I think now we enter a phase when it's more about really digging deep into user requirements and you know, field requirements from, you know, people that have been in emergency response. So that will take several months to really be able to hear all of these viewpoints, and then come up with a user interface and a direction for the code that makes sense, because, you know, we're a team of 3, so we do have, you know, app development skills on Amit, and we also have cloud development skill by Jason. I would say we're probably going to enter a good 6 months when we're going to be in the trenches building that first 1.0 release. Yeah, it's a long trek. So we got the backing of ORI, which is a nonprofit. So at one point, if we need and have you know, expenses, we can always raise funds. At the moment, being a nonprofit, we got some free credits on Amazon Web Services, so we're able to use, you know, cloud instances, and we got free credits there. So we're very thankful for that nonprofit program that Amazon has. Yeah.
Okay.
Which allows us to go forward without requiring funds at this stage.
Important feature there.
Yeah. Cloud can cost a lot. If you start running the CPUs and the memory space quite fast, it can wreck lots of a big bill. But we know not to do that. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to put this in. I'm going to recommend, and I'm going to put this in chat to get it out there, buddy, that you join the MCOM group we have going. It's mostly set up, there's a large group there, and there are SECs, EMs, and other people from races, you name it, are all in there. And
right.
From that standpoint, you can have actual conversations with those who've been involved directly with the income part of the world. It might help you quite a bit.
Yeah, that's really my what I'm looking for, is to get in contact with people who have real life experience on that side. There was a question from David, I think. So I think he asked, can it use ICS forms for MCOM? Maybe he means like FEMA ICS forms. Is that what you mean, David? All right, say correct. So the FEMA form, the way they're designed is that they're actually been designed for print. So if you look at the formatting of the form, it's pretty much using the real estate of a piece of paper, and it is trying to get that information. I think if we start to put print of this form on the small screen of a cell phone, the user experience is not going to be optimal because of the size of the screen. So I think what we'll do is, we already have the person sending the message, the person receiving the message, the geocoded, the timestamping. So we got all of the information that's in an ICS form. We have it in the Ribbit message. So the way we're going to do is we're going to have, you know, a mode when you say, okay, this is an emergency message. Is it an emergency? Yes. So you got some questions in the interface that already screens the background of the context. Why are you sending that emergency message? And then it's going to make sure that all the fields, all the raw data is there, but it's going to be in a text format. And then what we can always do is we can create on the back end when you receive, you know, the ability to take that same data and put it back in the form, you know, maybe on the laptop interface. I mean, once we get the Ribbit algorithm pretty stable, we could run it on the laptop, and then the laptop, you would have keyboard, mouse, and you could, you know, bridge it to the next format. Yeah.
Okay, I again, I put into chat the URL for joining the SEC Econ group. There's, I don't know how many's out there. Barry keeps count of that. It's way over 1,000. Those are the guys, a lot of them are very active in the disasters, especially along the East Coast with the tornadoes and all that stuff, hurricanes. And so that'd be a great place for you to not only get the information you're looking for, but to post updates and such. Those people are directly involved with the various disaster organizations, and that's pretty helpful all the way around.
Yeah, I think we're gonna just post a message and a link to this video recording so that they can all, you know, catch up and get the context. And then I'm pretty sure they'll start contacting us. That'd be great. Yeah.
Okay. I don't see any hands up. Barry, how are you doing?
We're doing good. It was 1,258 plus some I need to add after the presentation.
Okay, it is a large group, and like I say, most of those are directly involved with disaster services. So if you were trying to look for your answers, that's the place to post the question, and they'll get it out on their websites and their social media outlets too.
I have a side question for the audience. Do you feel that this would be helpful for Skywarn as well, for spotting, or not so much?
That's a good question. Anybody on here from using Skywarn?
I think it would be.
Yeah.
For sending out weather
most
reports, sure.
Well, another good thing too is that if you have areas where we don't have, like in the Antelope Valley, we have to talk to Oxnard, and getting the message over to Oxnard, it'd be so much easier to be able to type out the text instead of trying to voice it.
Right.
So I think Skywarn would be, I mean, I can't think of any place where this wouldn't be a plus for any type of emergency comm.
Right. What I really hope is once you got all of the messages flowing in text format, then we can build a bridge with other software, other applications. So it's very easy to develop a connector that, you know, you get all your message, they're sorted by priority, and then they're passed on to maybe a government system or something else. Because now it's in digital format, you can just copy paste it, you know, infinity, compared to a voice, you know, information. Yeah.
Okay, anything else out there? I don't see any hands up. How we doing, Barry?
We're good.
Okay, again, these are conversations to be perfect for that work, for that group that I gave you. You'll get lots of input, lots of questions there, things I think will be very helpful to you and them both. Okay, still, I keep plugging that, don't I? Sorry about that. I'm not trying to plug it or shove it down anybody's throat. I just think with this particular subject, that's a good one for that group. Okay. Well, how are we doing? Barry?
We're good in chat. There's no other hands that I can see, so.
Okay, are there any comments out there? Speak right up. Boy, I've never known hams to be bashful. Now, especially the experienced ones like we have mostly on here.
So let's say this, I mean, go like roundtable for everybody in the audience, like thumbs up, thumbs medium, like how do you feel about it? Is it helpful? Word of encouragement, where we should go? Yeah, so I get some thumbs up. Are we on the right track? Yeah, we get
just a quick comment on my part. I'm Canadian, and I feel if we can get it up here, I think it would work great for us. I mean, not that we have that much emergency situations, but you just never know. It's nice to have it there as a backup, you know, because when things happen, I was at a tornado here in Ontario up in Goderich, and it was a pretty famous thing back 12 or 13 years ago. And I was in the EOC and I couldn't hear anybody at all when they were asking me anything. And finally I said to them, just text. And they were sitting across the table.
Right.
I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, the echo inside the EOCs are just incredible sometimes, you know. So I think if we can get something like that going where it's you know, reliable, that's the biggest concern I have, is that you're guaranteed if the cell service drops, at least you've got something in your hand that you can do something with, even on simplex,
Right.
to get to where you need to get the information to, you know. So
we got I think it was last week, about 10 days ago, I had the Auxcom group from the city of San Francisco, so they're both government and ham radio operators, and they were asking me, so can we download the app, can you give us access to the video and this and that. So they did a first try on that monthly meeting, and they'll try it again in 3 weeks. And so in 3 weeks, I think they're doing a test setup when they're going to try to deploy, you know, 6 of them or 8 of them, and then going through the local repeater and just testing it out. So, yeah.
have you had anybody try something like that down in Florida because of EM?
So it wasn't out there because this is just brand new. So we got very little awareness yet. I think the first time we communicated about the concept was at DEF CON in August. So the Defense DEF CON convention in Las Vegas, Nevada was mid-August. We had a poster, so we explained the architecture. And then I did a presentation a month ago on a QSO Today virtual ham expo. So we got traffic there. We were asking for cloud developers, and we got Jason that stepped forward and joined the project. So that was great. And now we're trying to reach out to people with MCOM, and that's why we're here at RATPAC. I'm very happy to be here.
Cool.
Great crowd.
Thank you.
Victor, you got your hand up.
He called me, yes. All right. Good evening. We had this 1020 drill this morning, and as a part of that, I was trying to complete a report, and I went to the website and I could not find the form, the report section. And for a drill like this, I mean, it was absolutely critical. If you're in a catastrophe, you don't have time to scroll through pages and questions and, well, we've got this and we've got this and we've got this.
Yeah.
When you put this on your webpage, put it at the top. It's got to be your #1 key if you are going to present it for emergency. I don't have time to go to, say, for example, usjet.gov and search 20 million pages for a do you feel it report.
Yeah.
I need to be able to go to .gov/DYFI and know that I'm going to go right there. And it's got to be that quick because I'm under pressure, I'm in shock, and that's the title that comes to my name. Right. So, you know, it's a quick search, quick feel, and, you know, just have it right there on top as simple and quick as you can present it. Thank you.
Got one more question in chat. Does this system have a relay capability so a message would hop from radio to radio until it gets to its destination?
Yeah, so you can resend the message you received. So the same way you would do it on the voice communication through, let's say, through repeater, and then you want to resend it. So once you've got a message in your phone, you can resend that message forward. So you would, I mean, yeah, it does. It does it automatically. So it's going to be human passing on the message, but it's not, I mean, it's the same message with no transcription error. So that same message goes from radio to radio. Yeah. The main thing is, let's say you're on simplex frequency, and when you transmit, you got 3 or 4 people listening at that time with their Ribbit application. So what happened is now you got 4 copies of that message. You still have your own copy that you sent, and it's been received by 3 radios. Let's say somebody comes on the simplex frequency 30 minutes later, and he says, oh, we got that message from 30 minutes ago. And that new guy says, well, I don't have it, please send it to me. Any of the 4 person could click on their phone and send it to him. So it would hop to radio, and it similarly over a repeater. Does that answer your question, Mike?
Okay, he's
Yes, yes.
yeah, so yep.
So David says, can I crossband? So all of the things you would do, you know, with your CCS codes to open the repeater or use simplex or shift from VHF, UHF, you can use any frequency you want. So your behavior in terms of frequency usage is going to be absolutely identical to what you would do for voice. And the way people kind of not fully wrap their mind because they've got that, you know, they remember APRS or packet radio, and they always say, well, digital modes are separate from voice. Here it's not separate. It's really much, hey guys, here it's Pierre, W4CKX. I've got a field report to send. Is anyone there to receive? And then you open, say, yeah, this is Steve. I'm listening to you. Send it over. Then you say, I'm sending over. Push your button. You got it? Yeah, Steve, I got your message. Good. And that's exactly how you would transmit, you know, text over voice.
I like your simulation of the
I'm trying to explain it because people always say, oh, do I need to do specific frequencies? No, you don't. You just use what you have. If your repeater is up, use your repeater. If your repeater is down, use simplex.
Okay, looking for more questions, and we've got some good questions, and thank you, Pierre, for what you're doing tonight. This is great. I think we're going to see a lot more of you and a lot more of what you're doing here going forward. Okay, Barry, how are we looking? I don't see any hands up.
Nope, we're up to date in the chat. We're up to date with hands.
Okay. Well,
All right.
are there any just plain old comments out there? You want to speak your mind? Let's hear you got what you got.
This is Stan Lee again. I'm just curious, is there some type of form or something or email, something where we can keep updated from you? Can you send out updated emails that, hey, this is ready, go download it from the iOS now, yada, yada, yada? Is there something like that that you're going to start to maybe keep us informed that is trying to get it on the iOS?
Right. So at the moment, we have every single development effort that we do is being published on the mailing list of the ORI, Open Research Institute. I'm not asking 1,258 people to join ORI because they would receive a lot of emails. This mailing list got a lot of details like from developers. One thing certain is as soon as we got milestones, you're going to hear from us on RATPAC for sure. We'll be back on QSO today. Ham Radio Virtual Ham Expo will communicate there as well. Maybe when we close to a 1.0 release and we know that it's been field tested by several RS team and they're happy with the user experience, which means that we're ready for 1.0. We'll start to make some noise probably on the different YouTube channels, Ham Radio YouTube channels. So there's many ways for us to reach out to the community. So I think expected us to give us the time to do quality work. I think it's going to take 6 months easily, but when we do have things to say, we'll make noise. You'll be informed. Because the vision is really about outreach. I mean, the way I see it, so first, it's not just me. We're a team of 3. I've got Amit, who has done wonders on the encoding. I mean, if Ribbit can even work today, it's because of his skills in codec. And then Jason just joined on the cloud side to have a good cloud server application, and maybe more people will join along the way. But the way I see it is that if we look at all ham licenses today, we represent easily 50% of all first responders in the US. So if all hams would be active, we could amplify first responder efforts by 50%, which is non-negligible. And I see a ham saying, hey, they go on the Ribbit, they get their app, it's free. And then they just print a one-pager that say, hey, my name is Stan, I live in your neighborhood. And you put that in mailbox and you go door to door, kind of like politics. And you say, I'm in your neighborhood. 99% of the time, if you got emergency use, your cell phone, if cell phone towers don't work, which is super rare, remember I have radio equipment that may help you connect to first responders. And then they take that page, they keep it next to the fridge, and they forget about you. And likely they'll never need you. But as you go in your neighborhood, you start pushing doors and you say, oh, these people need medical support if there would be an emergency. And you start to know, where are people who need an oxygen tank? Where are people who need a dialysis? And so when emergency come, you know which doors needs to be visited first. And that brings us one step closer to a fast response. And so then when you're ready to, query, say, okay, I'm good, my home is good, let's reach out to these homes first. And then you can say, okay, I've been in the field, and then you can communicate to first responders in a very structured manner with, text in a form, in a grid that's very, effective and fast, because you can't take too much of the first responders' time. They got a lot to do. So whatever you can do to be at the top of our game, I think we've got a huge force multiplier, and we can inspire ham radio to be in the field and provide MCOM services and reactivate what we've done throughout the years. I think it's a little bit lost recently, but I really think we can do a tremendous good job with new tools.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm DEC for Alabama on the central part of the state. So I got 10 counties that I'm responsible for underneath the SEC or for Alabama. So that would be great as the way you're explaining how to use it. And I believe it would be a fantastic tool to help us out. And because I'm, along with just being DEC, I also help the EMA here in town too. So it would be a fantastic tool to be used in that particular situation.
Yeah, that's the vision. So yeah, a lot of people, supported that vision. They said it was going in the right direction. So it's good to hear from you that you feel the same.
Okay, looking around, any more questions out there or comments? Been a lot of good stuff passed back and forth tonight.
I do have a question. How many radios can you support with this? Is it just like the whatever the repeater will handle, or is there a limit on the program of how many messages and stuff you can get in? I apologize if it's been answered, because I'm kind of been hit and miss here. Some of my audio has been kind of goofy, so if it's repeat, I apologize.
So the answer is every single radio. You just need your analog HT, and it can be also digital HT that has an analog mode. So all radios, even DMR or Yaesu System Fusion or D-Stars radio, they can function as analog radios. So you use your radio in analog mode, and then there's no limit, because you just program your radio. If you go simplex, you go simplex. If you're hitting a repeater, make sure you got your CCS code or your PL tone to open the repeater, but you just use it on the frequency, and then you point your cell phone next to the radio, push send, and then the cell phone will make audio sound. Just stop talking at that time to make sure you don't speak over that audio coming out of your cell phone, and send it through your HT. So there's really, like, every single HT, from the simplest $30 HT all the way to the best one, all of them can transmit a Ribbit message, and there's no limit per message. Each message takes about 1.5 seconds. And so there's a lot of time on the air. There's no risk of message congestion. so by all means.
Okay, yeah, that's great. I'm the section manager for the ARRL here in Missouri. Yeah, I find this very interesting. I'm going to look into this, and I would look forward to maybe working with you guys on testing this and seeing where we can take this. But I appreciate your offers and I appreciate your time with us tonight. So thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
And go on ribbitradio.org, and if you got an Android smartphone, you can download the app and start testing it out. I mean, we got quite a few groups that have given us good reports that it's very much working for them. So,
Okay, are you looking to get this on like the iPhone setup, the Apple setup? Are you looking to do that?
yeah. So the reason why we don't have the app on the iPhone is that on Android you can open a developer account and publish an app for free. Whereas on iOS, on iPhones, you need to pay to have a developer account. And right now we haven't raised the funds to do that. So most of the development is going to be only on Android side for now. And when we get close to a 1.0 release under the Ribbit name, we'll make sure to have an iPhone version as well.
Okay, thank you. That's great. Sounds good.
Okay, Gary, you got your hand up.
Hey, yeah, can you hear me?
Hear you fine.
All right, cool. I just thought maybe another way to help articulate how this works would be like an example. You can run slow scan TV signals on any audio signal over the cell phone call, over Zoom, and you get the same output. And this is the same thing. As long as you have an audio a way to transmit phone audio, you can still have the data transfer.
That's a very good analogy. So Gary, thanks for bringing SSTV. So one piece of trivia is that the single most downloaded SSTV app on Android is developed by Amit Linan, and Amit is the person who developed the algorithm for text. So so there's a lot of carryover there.
Okay. Cecil, you got your thumb up, so apparently that's just you're okay. I don't see any more hands up. Barry, how are we doing?
We're good.
Oh, look, we're going to wrap this baby right up on the hour mark here, pretty close. Pierre, really appreciate you coming on. We look forward to hearing you in the future. I think you've got some resources that you can call upon tonight and be a part of to help your case and what you're trying to do there. Wonderful, wonderful. I like what you guys are doing. Keep up the good work.
Thanks for the word of encouragement. So thank you for having me in the RATPAC group tonight with the focus on MCOM. It's an honor to be here, and anyone like that came in the live presentation and everybody that will read this recording later on, thank you for being there.
Okay.